Everyone, my name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. In today's video, I wanted to discuss financial topics, although I have to tell you, don't consider myself a mundane astrologer because I'm not. And I'm not a financial astrologer either, but and this is not financial advice. Okay, that's the disclaimer. But I got very curious because of the fluctuations in silver and gold and obviously oil. So again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just letting you know what I did. As of now, as of today, February 24th, I am out of silver. I am just waiting to see what happens. Um, and I'll discuss all the research that I've done, but it was really, really time consuming. So I just briefly did it for gold because gold is super high and not a lot of people could afford to buy an ounce of gold at 5,000 and change, right? So my concentration was on silver because it's more accessible to the average person, right? Now, I'm also going to be discussing Iran and what I think is going to happen. So, anyway, let me share my screen and we'll get started. So, all right. So, what I did I went through all of the highs and lows of silver and gold based on a website that I'm going to show you a little bit later. All right, so basically, I have um, 20, August 2018 of 2007. I have March 12th of 2008, November 11th, 2008. April 26, 2011. And this is just for silver. July 2nd, 2013. March 16, 2020. August 10th, 2020. And look at how interesting these charts are, right? January 26, 2026 and February 2nd, 2026. So what I did is I took this information, and now let me share my screen from, let me do this one, okay, which I got from this worksheet, right? This website, silverprice.org, and then it says well, this one's gold, but if you click here, this is silver, and you can go back. I did 30 years. And then like these really, really high peak and then like these really, really low spots is what I came up with, right? So from this information, I pulled up the charts that I just showed you, and then I created a worksheet, which is this one. This is So what I did is I put all the dates, and these are the lows for silver, and then these are the highs. Is that Yeah. So, uh, and then I got the information from each of the charts. This is where the planets were on this day. Obviously, the time doesn't really, make a difference. And I based it on New York, New York City, because that's where the stock exchange is. So, and then I went through all of the aspects. I listed all of them, except for like these two columns, because honestly, I was just like, this is way too much. But anyhow, I focused on the highs And I see that there's a relationship pretty much between Jupiter and Saturn, and Jupiter and Mars, or Mars square Saturn for the highs. For the lows, I really, I don't, if you want to invest in silver when it's low, then, you can take a look at all of these things, right? But I found also eh, Neptune had a lot to do with like the lows in silver. And then Pluto had a lot to do with the highs. So we're talking about Jupiter and Saturn, and then we're talking about Pluto. Uranus square Saturn, like this one, Venus square Saturn is also on these two dates. Both of these had that. But I thought there would be more correlation. I thought that I would see a pattern developing, and I couldn't figure it out. Like I don't see a specific pattern in several of these dates, right? Where I can say is just, for example, I saw that there's some correlation between Jupiter and Saturn, and then there's some correlation with Uranus square Saturn, and also Venus square Saturn, at least on these two dates that I could say, okay, there's some kind of something going on there. But it wasn't, to me, it wasn't very obvious. And what I did notice is that for the highs, see, Jupiter and Saturn, which are highlighted in yellow, this is a trine, this is a square, this is a conjunction, and then this is also a trine. So the relationship between Jupiter and Saturn is very important in the silver, as far as I could tell. Now for the lows, well, you could see that the same thing pretty much applies, right? So that's where I was totally like, okay, this doesn't make sense. However, Cancer rules, I mean, the moon rules Cancer, and Cancer um, rules silver, right? So the moon rules silver, and the sun rules Leo, so the sun rules gold. I was thinking that I would see Jupiter in Cancer more often, right? And you could see that, yeah, both in the highs and the lows, but also Capricorn, the opposite of Cancer, when Jupiter is in opposition to the ruler of silver, it brings highs, which was very, very interesting. So, but then again, it also brings lows. So obviously there's some correlation, but it's not every single time, which was very interesting to me. So for gold, I didn't go through all this because this took a lot of time to do. And I was like, no, let me do a brief, for gold. For gold, I focused on Jupiter and Saturn, and these were the dates that, gold was very low and very high. And so again, for the lows, you're talking about Jupiter and Saturn fire signs. This one has no correlation, but Cancer and Pisces, water signs, and then even Capricorn and Virgo. And now for the highs, we have earth signs. This one, maybe it's an inconjunct, but, I would have to look at the degrees. But this one is Capricorn here again. Look at this. Capricorn is 4 out of the 5 times that gold was high, right? So Capricorn is definitely a sign where, it's the highest part of a natural chart. It's the ruler of the 10th house. So I guess it has a lot to do with this situation. So I'm imagining that 6 years from now, when Jupiter is in Capricorn, maybe we'll get another high, higher than this high in silver and gold. But we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, this is just curiosity, me looking at things because obviously, with the rate of inflation, you need to find a way to make extra money. So that is my research, and it looks very simple now, but it took a lot of time. Let me stop the share. There we go. So for right now, I looked at the ephemeris, and we're going to have um, a square for April and May between Cancer in Jupiter in Cancer and then Saturn in Aries. So for April and May, we may see the price of silver go up again or maybe even lower, but I there's going to be a more marked action in my opinion. And again, I'm not a financial astrologer. This is just me tinkering with the information. Um, so for this year, and then after that, I don't um I don't see any, I didn't look any further to see where silver, but I imagine that when Jupiter when Jupiter goes into Leo in July and then Saturn is going to be in Aries, that is going to be a trine. At specific months of the year. If this little research that I did pans out, then I will go ahead and do some more research. But I didn't want to invest all this time on something that I'm really not that sure is going to happen. So now let me take a look at Iran, which is, I think it's this one. No, I got the wrong. I have to go to the other one. Stop share. Come on, stop share. There we go. Sorry, I'll have to look at here. All right, so Iran. Iran is this is the birth chart that I got. It's April 1st, 1979 at 3 p.m. Tehran, Iran. This is the birth chart of the most recent uh, coup or declaration of independence or something like that, because Iran goes back, to Babylonian times, right? And God only knows when the original birth chart is. However, you could see that it has a Taurus midheaven at 25 degrees and Uranus is there. And it is a sun sign of Aries and an ascendant of Leo at the 29th degree. And we just had an eclipse in Aquarius in the opposition at 28 degrees, and I think it was 56 or 58 minutes, something like that. So the eclipse is right on this axis for them. And in addition to that, Mars is March 2nd, Mars is going to be conjunct the seventh house. So if we look at today Mars is going um, to conjoin. It's conjoined the descendant, but on March 2nd, it makes an exact conjunction, and then Mars is going to be squaring Uranus in the 10th house. So, do I think that the United States is going to launch or whatever, some kind of missile or do take some kind of action? The answer is yes. I do think, and I think it's going to be closer to March 2nd because that's when Mars conjuncts the descendant. I mean, it can happen really at any time because not only did President Trump indicate that they had 10 days, I think it was either I don't remember what day he said that, but you can see where Mars is inching up to the exact conjunction with the descendant. And seventh house is the house of open enemies. Okay. And then for Iran, you have the Saturn um, Neptune conjunction happening in the eighth house, where the Mars is at, their natal Mars is at. So, it doesn't look good for them, right? That's basically the way I interpret this. So I do think um, that the United States will launch an attack with Iran. Now, do I think it's going to turn into a war right now? No, but it's coming. I think, remember, Neptune in Aries is a new holy war, right? Because Neptune rules a religion. So, and Aries is something new. So we will have a war, but I was thinking back when the Second World War happened. The Second World War started in 1939, but the United States was not part of it. The United States entered the Second World War after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, December 6, 1941. So it took roughly what, 2 years before the United States entered, declared a war on Japan and the Axis powers, right? So I'm thinking that for right now, they're just testing the waters. I know it sounds horrible, but they're sending a message. Although I do think that we will have some kind of major war, God forbid, right? I hope that I'm wrong because there are no winners in a war. But I don't see the Ukraine-Russia thing ending in favor of Ukraine. And all these peace talks, this is just, you know, President Putin is just gaining time to figure out a new strategy because Ukraine has given Russia a run for its money, literally. But I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, unfortunately. I do see Israel and Gaza continuing. I don't think that that's going to end anytime soon. Again, I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I do think that eventually, as time progresses, I think that the two players are going to be Israel and Iran. That's where I see the new holy war coming in. And if Israel attacks Iran, if the United States backs Israel, then they're going to pull us in. And of course, if Iran is attacked, then the Muslim countries are going to support Iran. That's how I see things playing out. I haven't really looked at the astrology, but that's the potential that I see that can come. But anyway, for right now, eh, if or when the United States does launch an attack on Iran, I think that the price of oil is going to spike big time because Iran is the second producer of oil in the world. These people have black gold, literally. So I do think that the price of oil is going to go up. And again, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction means, Saturn, obstacles, delays, the power to say no. Neptune is oil, natural gas, so that would indicate potentially that there's going to be a lack of oil. If there's a lack of oil, get ready for the price tag at the pump. It's going to be hefty. But on the flip side of this, you can invest in oil. Now, I currently am invested in oil, and again, this is not financial advice, or I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing. Um, because, you know, if inflation takes off, which Neptune in Aries is hyperinflation, then you need to make extra money quick. And so that's what I'm looking at. Eh, I mean, hopefully I am completely wrong. and the United States does not launch an attack against Iran, um, and everything is happy-go-lucky, right? But just in case, I did invest in USO, which is an ETF that is oil-based, but you can invest in, if you choose to do that, you guys do the research on what oil companies, oil producing companies, or Chevron, Shell, you name them. There's a whole bunch of gas station stocks. Um, but the ETF is just a conglomerate, like a whole, you don't invest just in one company, it's a series of companies. It's like I guess like a mutual fund. That's what my understanding is. I'm not sure if, because I'm not a stock person. I do, like I said, if you look at the financial video that I did, I think it was at the beginning of January, I do follow the four gentlemen that I linked their channels in the bottom. Gareth Soloway, the bald guy, Loranzana, and then Clearview Tax. Noel Loranzana and Clearview Tax. Those are the four that I focus on for the financial stuff, but especially Gareth. Gareth Soloway to me is the bomb. Okay, I mean he's called so many things that it's just he's a blessing as far as I am concerned. But anyway. Um, this is what I needed to share with you guys. If we do attack Iran and inflation does spike, which the astrology backs it up as far as the hyperinflation, then I would suggest that you save money because you're going to need it. Cut out streaming services, cut out any buying lattes for breakfast, or some people get coffee outside to go to work every day. Like those little changes that you make at the end of the month will give you extra money. Also, I would suggest that you all have some cash in hand in your apartment, in your house, so you have some backup in case there's so many issues that are coming up with real estate. Real estate is going to crash. Is just like I said, to me, it's when the nodes change to Capricorn and Cancer, because Cancer is going to be the south node. Boy, this is sounding like such a depressing video, but I'm just giving you guys information to hopefully prepare you so that you can adjust finances accordingly, because when Saturn enters Taurus, Taurus is the natural ruler of the second house, right? Venus is the natural ruler of the second house. So with Saturn in Taurus, which is 2 years away, it's a lack of money, lack of resources, lack of, fill in the blanks, everything that the second house rules, which is the money that you make from the job that you do. So, I'm just looking ahead and trying to give you guys, some kind of idea so you can better prepare. Try to pay off your debts as much as you can, especially your mortgage. Accelerate the payments. If you have the student debt is like the worst thing that has happened to a couple of generations, because you guys are basically anyway, that's a different story. But anyhow, try to pay down your debts, try to save money, and just not spend on stuff. Look around stuff that you have that maybe you could have a garage sale, put it on auction sites like eBay or what is it, Poshmark or Mercari. Those are the three that I know. Or whatever, the marketplace. What I think it's Facebook Marketplace. Just ideas for you to raise money on stuff that you're not using, that you're just that have you have money there, but you know you're not taking advantage of the exercise equipment or whatever. If you have 20 purses, you don't need 20 purses. You could do with five. Actually, you only need one, but anyway, um, try to get resources to better assist you in what's coming up. And again, this video is not meant to scare anybody. It's just meant to prepare you for what potentially can happen. Hopefully, we have a miracle, right? And saving grace. And none of this happens, but just in case it does, then you are better prepared, better equipped to handle the economic downfall that we see coming. Anyhow, I hope that you have found this video helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody else that this video might help them to prepare financially for what's ahead. And like I told you, I've shared with you what my investment plan is. And that's about it. Again, I don't mean for this video to be depressing, but this is what potentially can happen. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up so more people can see it and get prepared. And as always, if you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.